Governor Scott just signed a bill to cut the fees we pay to register our vehicles. So when do the savings start? Thanks for joining us in the Florida Today newsroom. I'm Matt Reed, and my guest today is Brevard County tax collector Lisa Cullen. She's in charge, and she'll explain. Cullen also takes my questions about what, if anything, she's done to make a trip to her branch offices shorter and less of a hassle. If you haven't tried it in a while, beware that renewing a driver's license requires a pile of personal documents. Also today, Cullen explains her new role as enforcer of a county effort to collect the 5% tourist tax from homeowners who rent their condos or houses to vacationers. Here's the interview. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here today. Let's talk about one of the biggest pieces of news coming out of the legislature this year, and that is a significant cut to what we pay to register our cars. Fill us in. Yes,
it was very refreshing to see that these fees are going to come down, because in 2009, September 1, 2009, they all almost doubled, which was quite a sticker shock to our customers. But those people that drive automobiles and trucks that weigh less than 5,000 pounds will see anywhere from a $21 to $24 decrease, and most other people will see about a $13 decrease in their registration fees. So it doesn't cut everything, but it does address some of the vehicles that we see most in our office.
Does it undo the entire increase from 2009, or does it come close to that? Or
it rolls back pretty much everything, yes, for those vehicles. The prices were increased on more than just those vehicles.
Oh, I see.
But this is addressing the ones we see generally in the
vast
office.
Majority of people,
right.
And what they have in their garages.
What it won't address are the trucks that weigh over 5,000 pounds. For example, my husband has a Ford F-150. We will still pay the higher prices on the truck.
Wait, really? Even on a Ford F-150?
Right. They'll weigh over 5,000 pounds.
I'm thinking lunch trucks and, Snap-on tool trucks and those, like step vans, right?
Right. Your larger trucks will see that $13 decrease, not the 20 to 25 that we hear most often talked about in the news.
Okay, okay. How has that been received so far? I mean, it's in place. I think that was it was effective as soon as the governor signed it?
Well, it was not effective as soon as the governor signed it. It will be effective September 1 of this year.
Oh, okay, okay.
So, what can we do for our customers now? We have educated our staff to discuss the 2-year renewals with our customers, because if that's purchased now, there is a piece of the legislation that specifically addresses that there will be no refunds of these fees that are paid now. So we're encouraging people to only do that 1 year, and then they could renew next year and receive the fee increases. We have removed the biennial registration from the tax collector website, but if you go to the state website, that will still be an option there. That's still left out. So please come to our website, brevardtc.com, and renew there. And we have also, as soon as the governor signed that bill, we also removed the 2-year biennial registration from our renewal notices.
So that people don't just do it automatically.
So we've tried to address what we can. If we get them now, if we have a phone number or a way to contact the person, we'll even contact them if we receive that by mail, so that we can try to save them those few dollars.
Been well received, though, among the people that you talked to? All right, well, we'll look for Governor Scott to score some points in the election, right, with some of this. Okay, but tags are always interesting because you see so many of them. There are more new tags that are out this year coming from the legislature. What are we seeing?
Okay, they're in session, so yes. Right now, there are 6 proposed tags legislatively for a host of different things. It's very confusing for our customers and even for our staff when, let's say, someone comes in and says, I would like the fish tag. Well, there's probably about 6 different license plates that have some type of aquatic fish on them. But our latest one is on display here for Lauren's kids. So that's one of the last new license plates that we've received. So we'll see what the legislature does. You just never know what they'll.
What are the most popular ones in Brevard County outside of the orange?
I call it the generic license plate. One of our most popular, of course, is our shuttle Columbia Challenger license plate. It has always been very popular in this area, specifically because of the Space
Sure.
Center.
Yeah.
The Indian River Lagoon, which I brought with me today because we are a lagoon county, and that is, of course, a hot topic lately.
Yeah, I would imagine we see a little bit of an uptick in that
Right.
if people wanted to help.
So those proceeds from that license plate do go help the lagoon. It goes to the 6 lagoon counties. And then our endless summer license plate is also another very popular one in our area.
If you live on the beach, you want to have the surfer and the
Exactly.
sunset, and it looks good. Well, you know, you now are, well, of course, you didn't run for this job because you were a politician. You've spent much of your career in this office, and you've seen the inner workings and how it goes. So tell me a little bit about what is going on now in terms of trying to just improve the experience for customers. I mean, this is, in other states we call it the DMV, right? It's the nightmare place.
And you've seen the commercials on TV.
Exactly, exactly.
We've tried to make it a better experience. I try to go out in the community and I try to listen to our customers. And one of the things that I heard most often was, I want you to value my time as much as I do. So we're trying to do that. We've invested and improved in a queuing system that allows our customers to go on our website and make an appointment for any type of transaction to come into the office. Let's say you know that on May the 15th you want to come in at 3 p.m. and pay your taxes. You can make an appointment for that. You come in at 2:55, you check in, you go to the front of the line. You'll be served by 3 o'clock. So
really?
We want to value your time. We've also, I've had the opportunity to renovate 2 offices, Merritt Island and our Sarno office in Melbourne. And again, listening to many of the comments that we received as we go out and we talk to people, and I like to be out, and sometimes the complaints are what tells you the most about what's happening at your office. And we were hearing many times that I don't like to wait and not have everything I'm supposed to have with me.
You don't find out until after your number comes up and you've sat there for an hour that, oh, you should have had this.
Right.
Piece
And
of
Mondays
paper
and Fridays are very busy days in our offices, and people could have that hour wait. So we instituted a triage area where the documents that you bring with you are looked at by our staff before you have that long wait. And at least you know you have what you need for your transaction to be processed. So that's been very well received. And any office that we can renovate from now on, that won't be a while for some of them, but we'll institute that functionality within our customer flow.
Now, a big one is driver's licenses, right? If
Yes.
I need to, in fact, I need to go in and get my new driver's license, and I got the card that says you got to bring all these, you know, 2 pieces of paper that prove your address. You have to have your birth certificate and all that kind of stuff. What are some of the basic things that we need to have here? What works?
Well, I took over driver's licenses in 2009, started implementing that into our process, which has also been well received by customers. Driver's license at that time, we went to a full implementation of the Federal Real ID Act, which is what has caused all of those documents, that list of documents to be created.
You mean it wasn't Obamacare?
No, it wasn't Obama.
Okay, okay.
Long before Obamacare.
Just to clarify.
What we'll need to see is your proof of legal presence. That could be your passport, your birth certificate, or if you are a non-U.S. citizen, it might be your visa and all of those documents that got you into the country, a whole host of different documents in that arena. We're also going to need some verification of your Social Security number, and thank goodness we've just recently been able to allow our customers to self-certify, where it's pretty much you give us the number, and as long as it verifies through Social Security, we're going to let you do that. So that is new and exciting news for us. And like
Probably
you said,
because a lot of people lose those cards.
Exactly. I can't tell you the last time
I
looked
guard
at mine.
that dog-eared little folded-up birth certificate
pretty
from
sad looking, mine is.
1960s, you know, with my life, because everybody wants the original, and you're like, how many times can somebody get this?
Exactly.
But the Social Security cards, I can't tell you how many times I've had to go.
And that was one of our biggest obstacles. Many people didn't have those. So we're able to self-certify now through that verification, and then the 2 proofs of your address. It has to be complete address because they want to know that's where you're actually living, and that's the address that will go on the license.
So what, like a bill? A power bill?
Power bill.
How about the postcard from the tax collector's office?
That would
saying it's time to come
absolutely
in
work.
And do the,
voters registration. We have a whole host of things on the website we can take. So it's not just mail, it's other things that might have your address on it as well. Your insurance card. So some things that you might already have with you when you come in.
One thing I'm just curious about, do you get a lot of people that come in just for the ID card?
Yes, we do, because what I've really come to know and understand is that an ID is the key to the world. In helping some people through our identity program here in Brevard County, you can't get any help in the Social Security area, you can't vote, you can't do so many things. You can't cash a check. So it is really the key to the world. So we do issue a lot of those ID cards.
Maybe to people who just never earned a driver's license or lost a driver's license, or maybe they
Right. And it is that. It's an identity document.
I see. One of the big issues that you're working on now is collection of, I always say this wrong, tourist development tax?
That's correct.
This is the tax that hotels normally collect from guests and pay to the county, the heads and beds tax.
Mm-hmm.
But something else is happening now. What's going on?
This tax is unusual in the realm of the other taxes that I collect, in that when I collect property tax, I know the exact value of the property, I know the millages that should be applied, I know exactly what that tax bill is. Tourist development tax is ambiguous. You may have a home for rent that you rent for 1 week, or you rent a month, or you rent all 6 months. I can't definitively say Matt Reed owes X number of dollars. It is basically you file your return, you certify that's correct, and you pay the taxes. There's no definitive tax roll for me to collect. The other thing that's frustrating for us at the office is there's also no definitive remedies for those people that don't have a tourist tax development account, and they're maybe paying no taxes at all, or they pay periodically. So it's very frustrating for us, and it's been very hard to get a handle on. Those people that pay and have the account are doing a very good job, but that's what we're wrestling with right now in the county, and we've seen the ordinance that was passed through the recent county commission meeting, and that will require anyone who advertises to rent a short-term property, and that's 6 months or less, they must have a tourist development tax account with us.
Okay.
That would allow us to go in and audit, and it would allow us to verify, are you actually renting and for what periods, because that allows us to go and look at banking statements, tax returns, different items that we could verify that information with. So I think it's going to improve. We're working with the county on an educational campaign. I'm very excited for some of the items that we've come up with. We plan on putting a revised notice in the tax bill that will go out to all of our properties and accounts in Brevard County in November. We did that this past November and picked up some accounts with that. We are also working on some different things in our office. When you come in and you have to wait, we have a free service to us. It's called Motor Vehicle Network, and we're allowed to put different informational items up there. So we've started running some ads that say, do you rent your home, your condo, your timeshare, your travel trailer, whatever you may be renting for that short period of time, just so that while they're waiting, they're seeing that as well. So we worked on many different things. I'm excited. I think the Tourist Development Council can probably bring some good things to the table, and we'll see what we can do. But I think it'll be much better. I am hopeful for what we can do with that.
So I guess that was one of my, you mostly answered one of my questions. That was, how do you enforce this? And is it that, I guess you have to go on trust at some point that they're going to create the account, correct?
Correct.
But then once they do that, now you've got the ordinance in place that gives you the power to go in and audit them.
Exactly.
Any account holder.
Right.
Well, there are so many people who do this. It's not people who live in the 4-bedroom house with a pool, but there are so many condos, as you said, timeshares.
Exactly.
Somebody has a week, it's their week, they're not going to make it this year, so
I'll
they
rent
put
it.
it up on
Craigslist.
Right. Vacation rental by owner. I've looked at places
Airbnb.
there. Yeah, exactly.
There's a whole lot of them out
It's
there.
easy. It's quick. How do you find them? Is there an enforcement? Are you going to put out a dragnet looking for people, or?
That type of enforcement is really not in my comfort zone as the tax collector. It is not something we're set up to do. It would be more, I see it as more of maybe a code enforcement option, or maybe the sheriff's department, because we're not capable of going out and tracking those things down. It would be me creating a whole new department and training people to do this, or trying to find someone who does this. When in talking with the county manager, we've thrown around that idea with code enforcement and some different ideas. So I think that enforcement arm will come with them.
I talked to a code enforcement officer and have interviewed directors of those departments before, and they tell me that the #1 way that codes are enforced is just neighbors. You know, in a situation like this, somebody rents a home out or rents a condo out to some spring breakers, the neighbors are upset, hey, wait a minute.
The loud
I
music.
wonder if they have a tax account, and they'll look that up, and if you don't do it.
We actually have an anonymous tip line. You can either mail it to us, we have a form on the website, or a phone number you can call. You don't have to leave your name, or we just need to know the property address, and we will send them a letter inquiring about whether they're renting short term. We also have some other tools available to us. Sometimes people don't know that they're supposed to be collecting the tourist development tax, but they'll pay their sales tax. So we have an agreement with Department of Revenue where we will bump that information up against their database. And if we get any outliers, we'll track those down. In fact, we just sent 160 letters to a community that inquiring about several properties that they have there, 160 of them, that may be possibly being rented.
Oh, is that right? I know that there are some condo complexes in Florida where people own the condos, and the manager there will rent out the units on their behalf and sort of manage it that way.
Right.
But they weren't paying tax, or didn't have to before?
Well, they weren't.
They had to pay tax,
Yes.
but there wasn't any mechanism or enforcement.
Right.
To
So
make them
we're
do it.
tracking down those leads as best we can, but it's very hard when you've just asked the question and they deny it.
Right.
You've got to find some way, and that's where I think the audit capability of looking at the bank accounts, and then you can actually look at their IRS tax returns. We do quite a number of steps when we go out and audit, and we've brought that in-house as well, and we're doing at least 10 to 12 of those audits a year.
Do you get anything out of it? Does your office get any help or additional resources or anything as a result? I mean, at least when police go out and they give tickets,
They get some of the
the city
fee.
gets at least a little piece of,
Right.
of what
I'm paid a percentage of what I collect.
Okay.
So if we collect additional, yes, it would be a small percentage. But in my tenure in office, that's been a very small amount. We are trying to spend what we collect. Of course, we're not in a profit-making business, so those fees that we collect through tourist development tax, we're trying to reinvest into that program and make that work better every day.
You talked about bumping databases up against, you have the tax collectors' information.
Our
that
tourist
somebody
development
else-
tax accounts and then sales tax accounts. And
Okay.
we'll bump those two together to see.
if they match, or
Right.
where you don't have matches.
We've looked at Department of Professional Regulation, because one of the things that the cities will tell you about is those people that aren't registered, there are some code and health issues that really need to be addressed. It may not have the fire safety issues addressed in a unit that is not
I see.
complying with the law, where I'm complying with the law, where I have all the fire extinguishers, et cetera, that I need to have in the unit. So it's a safety issue as well. It's just not a tax issue.
Interesting. I understand you bumped your data up against with another constitutional officer, even though it wasn't your initiative, but Lori Scott was trying to get to the bottom of, are there non-citizens on the voter rolls? And she, I believe, worked with you to try to find information from driver's licenses or something. Fill me in on that.
It's the strangest thing. I'll register a large number of people to vote through Motor Voter.
In fact, you may be one of the biggest voter registration drives in the county.
We'd have to ask Lori, but I know I do at least 50 to 60% of the voter registration in the county. I don't handle elections or anything like that, but that's her wheelhouse. But we have really tried to work together. That's one of the things I can say about all 5 constitutional officers. We have a good working relationship, and Lori wanted to understand all the different things that I could look at, because I'm going to verify your legal presence when I issue that driver's license. Lori, as supervisor of elections, cannot do that. So it's a very strange process. But I explained to her how our process works. She explained her process to me. And I think her working with the supervisors of elections and me working with tax collectors, we're going to see some of that bump up against each other. I think very good data comes from the Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, and we're improving that. And just that working relationship she and I have has made a lot of that happen.
How do you verify their legal presence? Do you do it
through that that driver's license transactions, when you bring in that birth certificate?
Okay.
When you bring in that passport, all of those different things. When we scan those documents, that actually goes to Homeland Security. We don't keep that locally. And if there's an issue, they can pull and verify those.
Wow, interesting. So that's good information that...
And just like the Social Security card, when I talked about verifying that, when we're processing that transaction for you at the counter, we're actually running that number through Social Security Administration to see if that's a good number attached to your name.
Can an illegal immigrant get a driver's license in Florida?
It's become much harder, much harder. I won't say that they can't, but with the document verification, it has become much harder.
It's not legal, though, for them to do it.
No.
I think some states have talked about, we'll pass a law, better to have them pass a test and at least be monitored and whatever.
Exactly.
If they're driving around in a truck, you know, delivering tomatoes or insulation or whatever it is. In Florida, I just didn't know what the standard was.
Right. It's scary. What you're seeing now is a lot of examiners be arrested for issuing them fraudulently. They'll take the documents.
Here in Brevard?
Not in Brevard.
Okay.
The last one I read about was in Miami.
Okay.
But I've never had anyone arrested. Let's clarify that. But we do constant training. The documents that people can have forged they're just incredible sometimes. We are constantly training our staff about how to spot a fraudulent Social Security card or a birth certificate. We're constantly getting notification from other states that birth certificates number thus and such through thus and such were stolen, don't accept them, different things like that. So it's a constant battle.
One of the things you said you were going to do when you ran for office, and I noticed that I just haven't paid attention to it in a while, was make it so that when people wrote their checks to the tax collector's office, they weren't writing it to the person who was the tax collector at the time.
You do not write your check to Lisa Cullen.
Okay.
You write the check to Brevard County Tax Collector. If you so happen to write it to Lisa Cullen, Brevard County Tax Collector, we will accept it, but we do not require you to make it out to my personal name. I feel this way, Matt. If I can't make your visit to our office an enjoyable, pleasant experience, and you remember me that way, I haven't done my job. I shouldn't have to make you write my name over and over for you to remember me.
I think some tax collectors in Florida thought that was helping them somehow, and maybe there is something to the saying that, you know, bad publicity is better than no publicity. But to me, it always seemed like making somebody write your name on the chalkboard as punishment over and over.
Right, Lisa Cullen 100 times. Yeah. No, I didn't feel like that was necessary. And when I ran for my second term, I was unopposed. So I hope I was doing my job, and that was why.
When are you up for election again?
Be 2016.
Think you're going to do it again?
I think so, yes. I love what I do. This has been my career. I've spent my life doing it, and I enjoy it. The day it becomes unenjoyable, that's when I'll call it quits. I do have my 30 years in. I could retire at the end of this term, but I'm still liking it, and we've made a lot of good progress at the office. We're one of the leaders in the state of Florida now. In fact, I'll be the president of our Tax Collector Association next year. So
congratulations.
thank you. I'm very proud of what we've done here. The staff at the tax collector's office are incredible, and they do a great job every day.
What's the biggest challenge that you're wrestling with right now?
Right now, our office is undergoing a tax collection software conversion.
Okay.
So we are converting about 12 years of data from our old system to a new, and it's quite a challenge. This system conversion is going to touch every aspect of our organization, and it is well worth the pain. We're going to have improved processes. We're going to have our front counter staff. We're a one-stop shop now, so that's going to improve how that operates for them. We are going to be able to accept PIN debits, a new payment type for our office. We are going to have some reports and data available to us to let us know how we're doing our job, that it's going to be it's just without words what we're going to be able to see. And then our public interface is going to improve as well. We were talking about tourist development tax. I will tell you that the public interface we have to pay that online is not what I want it to be. And this new system is going to bring a improved process to those people, and it's going to warehouse their information, and I think they're absolutely going to love it. But it's a challenge right now, and we're working through it, and I'm proud of my staff. They are getting it done, and August 18th is our target date, and I think we're going to meet it.
Well, technology was supposed to make things so much easier, but new software is never easy.
It always comes with pain.
Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here
Thank you,
today.
Matt. Thank you for having me.
Well, that's our program. Thanks for joining us in the Florida Today newsroom. Remember, you can send us your comments on this issue or others in Florida Today. Email your letters to letters@floridatoday.com. My tip for getting published: focus on Brevard issues and keep it to 200 words or less. I'm Matt Reed. We'll see you next Wednesday right here on WEFS TV and FloridaToday.com.